Hello everyone, today I will tell you about the film Desierto. Enjoy watching. A group of Mexican workers are going to illegally cross the border into the United States. Suddenly, right in the middle of the desert, the truck that was transporting them broke down. Among the illegals was a mechanic who was called to see if the car could be repaired here. The breakdown turned out to be serious, and only a tow truck could move the truck from here. Moises was scared because recently a whole group of migrants was killed in these parts. Perhaps a cartel was involved. Lobo showed the workers in which direction the United States was and ordered them to get out of the truck. For an additional fee, he will have to drive the group through the desert. The guide calls his compatriots cattle. An American, Sam, drove into these parts in his pickup truck. The tipsy man is going to hunt. Meanwhile, the group reached a barbed wire fence. Further on is U.S. territory. Lobo warned that they need to be on their guard. Even farmers should be wary. Sam saw a rabbit, took aim, and pulled the trigger. The illegals heard the shot. Lobo ordered them to run and hide in the nearby vegetation. The Mexicans also made a stop to rest and have a snack. Lobo warned them that they still had a day and a half to go, so they had to save water. Moises turned his attention to the girl who was being pestered. Her parents asked the man to look after their daughter, but he was acting like her husband. Moises stood up for Adela, and Lobo ordered everyone to get up and continue on their way. Dobriak also offered to help Pukli carry his heavy backpack, but he refused. Sam met a border guard. He had recently complained about seeing traces of illegal immigrants, but the authorities had not responded to this. 5 people had fallen behind the main group, and Lobo was not going to wait for them. The stragglers ran ahead, and Fat Man fell to the ground. He was completely exhausted. Moises helped him up and encouraged him. Fat Man did not think it would be so hard. The assistant tries to shout to Lobo. The guide hears him and only laughs at the 5 who had fallen behind. Suddenly, Moises ordered his friends in misfortune to hide. He saw a pickup truck ahead. Sam got out of the car. He found traces of illegal immigrants and ordered his dog to find them. Soon, Sam saw a group of 10 people and immediately took a rifle out of the car. The hunter took a position on a hill and began to aim through the telescopic sight. The first bullet was caught by Lobo's guide. The Mexicans did not even immediately understand what had happened. Pretty soon, 2 more people went to the other world. The crowd scattered. But they were in the open, so they were easy targets for the maniac. The woman leaned over her dead husband, and a second later, she fell next to him. Then the bullet caught the woman in red. Only 1 person remained alive, and the shooter was not going to let him go. First, he wounded the man in the leg and then finished him off in the head. 10 lifeless bodies were left lying under the scorching sun. The shocked Moises ran over the hill. The others followed him. Sam got great pleasure from what he had done, but then the dog began to bark restlessly. Apparently, it was too early for the Patriot to relax. It was a pity that he couldn't hit them from here. He would have to hunt a little more. It was not so easy to catch up with Moises, and only he knew this area. As before, the faithful dog was tracking the game. A little more, and he would catch up with the fleeing Mexicans. Adela's companion was the last one to run. It was on his neck that the dog's jaws closed. The others could not help him in any way. Sam called his faithful dog to him with a whistle and continued hunting. The fugitives climbed a tree onto a rock. This was the only way they could escape the Belgian shepherd. Hunter Sam also climbed a high rock to look around. The Mexicans were not wasting time and were moving along the rocks, hoping that this way they would be able to break away from the madman. But then they found themselves at the edge of the cliff. Moises, without thinking twice, jumped onto a nearby boulder. Everyone else immediately followed him except for the fat man. The man hesitated, but seeing the dog, he decided to jump. By that time, Sam had figured them out and shot the fat man in the back. He fell down and crashed, and Moises managed to hide behind the rocks. The hunt continued. Moises finally managed to catch up with Moises. And it turned out that he didn't know these places after all. He had never led migrants along this road. Sam drove the dog forward again, and he himself got behind the wheel of the pickup. The tracker almost caught up with the prey, but he couldn't go down after her, so he ran to look for a detour. Sam doesn't stop drinking and tries to determine on the map where the Mexicans will go. They accidentally got out on his car and went back. The dog appeared again, and the migrants climbed the rock. Hearing the barking, Sam ran up here. He climbed the rocks after the fugitives. The maniac saw the mechas and was about to shoot him, but the guy who scared him fell to the ground. The poor guy survived, but the dog immediately attacked him, and Sam finished him off in cold blood with a shot to the head. Only 2 survived. They were almost given away by Moises' teddy bear, but it seems Sam did not hear the children's melody. Adela said that the man who was with her was hired by her parents. He was supposed to help her cross the border. It's funny because she left her hometown because it was too dangerous there. Moises has a son waiting for him in America. Being an illegal, he was about to fill out paperwork, but due to a series of random events, he was deported. This bear cub is his son's. Not far from them, Sam complains to the tracker that he has begun to hate these places. Perhaps he will need to get out of here soon. In the morning, Adela saw Sam's car. To avoid being noticed, the girl dropped to all 4s and discovered that she was surrounded by rattlesnakes. Fortunately, none of the reptiles bit her, and Adela came to Moises with an offer to steal this crazy American's pickup truck. The tracker was calmly basking in the sun, but suddenly, he got up and ran somewhere. Sam trudged after his dog and came across a toy making a melody. The scumbag turned around and saw 2 Mexicans running to his car. The snake prevented him from aiming properly. The tracker also didn't have time to reach them. The couple had already hidden in the cabin. The mechanic was trying to start the car without a key. Finally, Moises succeeded and pressed the gas pedal. He and Adela were incredibly happy, but then a shot rang out. The girl was wounded in the arm, and Moises lost control, and the pickup turned over. The man crawled out of the car and saw Sam, who was running here to finish them off. But while the killer was descending the mountain, the Mexicans managed to escape. At some point, the wounded Della admitted that she could no longer walk, and Moises sat her down near a giant cactus. The first aid kit that the man took from the car contained a flare gun. After treating the wound, he told Adela that he would leave her here to die. After all, when the American caught up with them, he would kill them both, and his son was waiting for him. Despite the girl's pleas not to abandon her, Moises grabbed the flare gun and ran away. Soon the tracker smelled Adela's blood and followed her trail. The poor girl saw the killer and panicked. Moises was still overcome by conscience, and having climbed the hill, he fired a shot from a flare gun. Sam suggested that the tracker take care of this Mexican. The girl was either already dead or would soon bleed to death. Moises runs as fast as he can, but the dog gradually catches up with him. But Sam is trailing somewhere behind. To protect himself from the dog, Moises climbed into a cactus grove. He hopes that the tracker will be afraid of the needles. But the dog, it seems, did not even notice the obstacles and continued to run, not reducing speed. Moises loaded a second cartridge into the flare gun and shot the dog right in the mouth. Sam heard the tracker whining and, having found him, finished off the wounded animal. The man fell to his knees and burst into tears. He asks his friend for forgiveness and swears to punish the Mexican. Meanwhile, Moises reached the highway and tried to stop a passing car, but the driver did not hear him. But he himself got to a convenient position, and again, Moises, in despair, simply began to scream and call for help. After waiting a little, the man ran forward again and began to climb the nearest rock. He was lucky that Sam was out of breath and could not hit him. The American was not going to stop. After all, for him, this is now personal, not just entertainment. They run around the same rock at a distance of literally a couple of dozen meters. Moises somehow manages to save his life. He climbed to the very top of the rock and watches Sam walk in circles. He was completely exhausted and stopped. Unfortunately, Moises gave himself away, and Sam also climbed up. Now the prey is hiding below, while the hunter is looking around from above. Sam went down again, and Moises ended up behind him. The Mexican realized it was now or never, and ran towards Sam. He didn't even expect to be attacked and flew down with Moises. The enemies woke up almost at the same time, only Sam had a broken leg, so he reached the rifle second. The American started screaming, complaining about his leg. "You killed them all like some animals," Moises answered him. Sam continued whining and asking for water. The killer begs to spare him. Moises couldn't kill a man anyway. The desert will do it for him. Sam shouts after the Mexican and asks him not to leave him. But Moises didn't even turn around. Instead, he returned to Adela, who was still alive, though she had drunk all the water. The man put her on his back and carried her somewhere forward. "We're almost there," Moises repeats, although all that's visible ahead is the endless desert. But the man didn't give up and continued on his way. By sunset, the lights of the city were already visible on the horizon.